I'm Sasha from The Balanced Canine, and today we're going to be reviewing a supermarket kibble called Nature's Goodness. The line that we're going to be looking at is their chicken formula, and because it's a supermarket kibble, it's quite affordable, as you could imagine. The packaging is quite pretty and it's quite appealing, so that would probably be a reason that a lot of people purchase it, and it's grain-free as well. Okay, so to my right on the computer screen I've got the ingredients, so I'm going to have to look over there every now and then. So let's go through one by one. Now what we're ideally going to be looking at really is the top 5 ingredients, because the top 5 are what are the most predominant ingredients in your dog's kibble. The ingredients have to be listed in order of weight. Now here's a tricky thing, is that it's before cooking. And what that means is that if I have a meat that's not a meal, because a meal is a powdered cooked product, so it's not going to change in weight very much after cooking. If I have a meat that isn't a meal and it's probably going to be like 70% moisture, after cooking it's going to lose that moisture weight. So what does that mean? It's probably not going to be the #1 ingredient anymore. It's going to drop down the list. Okay, so I usually have to look to my #2 ingredient as my most predominant one. But let's see what's in this kibble, and we'll see if it's a meal or a fresh meat that's actually the #1 ingredient. Okay, so the #1 ingredient is meat and meat meals, in brackets poultry, beef and duck. Now that could probably sound okay to some people, but here's the thing, it's non-specific. So it says meat. Which meat is actually in it? Which one did they get hold of that day and pop it in? So if I have a dog that has a food sensitivity, this is not going to be the kibble that I'm going to feed. Okay, so is it poultry, is it beef, or is it duck? I don't know, who knows? It contains meat and meat meals. So #1 is a combination of meat and meat meals, or might be meat and it might be meat meals. So we don't actually know what we're getting here. So that's really hard to know. So first up, it's confusing. I don't know what's in it. The #2 ingredient is vegetable and vegetable meals. Okay, in brackets that is peas, soy, carrots, potato, garlic, tomato and pumpkin. Now vegetables as a #2 ingredient isn't something that I would be ideally looking for, but in a grain-free it's actually quite common. Now why? Here's the thing. Grain-frees became available because of consumer demand, not because of any scientific advancement or anything amazingly nutritional about them. Consumers thought grains were a massive issue, and therefore they wanted kibbles without grains. They put a lot of pressure on to the kibble companies, and ta-da, we now have grain-frees. Now we're also facing some consequences of that, and that may actually be taurine deficiencies, which also leads to heart conditions. The FDA is now looking into these issues, so we need to be mindful when things come about because of consumer demand, not because of any kind of scientific advancements. Is this specific grain-free kibble an issue in terms of taurine deficiencies leading to heart conditions? We don't know. We don't know a great deal about that yet. Hopefully in the next 12 months the FDA investigation will find out a lot more. My general recommendation is to use a standard high quality kibble versus a grain-free kibble unless you absolutely have to. Not all grains are evil. I am 100% fresh food feeder. I do not feed any kibble, and I'm still okay with some grains. Okay, so things like oats, they are really soothing to the tummy. They're low GI, and they're okay. You know, there's a bunch of other things that are okay, and you don't have to be scared about them. Okay, so people being scared about stuff is perhaps the reason why we're sort of here where we are with this whole taurine deficiency thing. All right, so these vegetables. Here's the thing that I don't like seeing in my #2 ingredient spot. I don't like seeing peas. I definitely do not like seeing soy. I do not believe soy has any place in dog food whatsoever. Potato, I would much prefer it to be sweet potato, because with potato comes potential issues, and those potential issues can be around the little green spots that they have on them, and if that's not picked out on the processing line, then that can be a toxic issue for dogs. Tomato, it's a nightshade, and it's not particularly something that we really get into with dogs. So it's interesting that why they have it there, but I'm sure they have it there for a reason. Pumpkin, I'm totally cool with pumpkin. It's a great addition. Okay, so number 3 is tapioca and potato starches. Now, these aren't here to provide nutrition to your dog. What they're actually here for is to bind the kibble together. Now, when you're feeding a kibble, there has to be something to bind the kibble to. So you're going to have to be okay with starches. It's just part of it, okay? The next one up is chicken fat, and I'm totally okay with chicken fat. So where are we up to? Meat and meat products, vegetables and vegetable meals, tapioca and potato starches, and chicken fat. So that is our top 5 ingredients. So what would I like to see more of in this kibble? Meat. I'd like to see more meat because the animal that I'm feeding is a dog, and regardless of if you would like to refer to a dog as a carnivore or an omnivore or a scavenger or what have you, they have a meat bias. Their digestive system was created by nature to consume mostly meat. So the diet that I want to put into my dog that is going to fuel it properly and the easiest is meat. That is the food that your dog's digestive system recognizes, okay? So the dog's ancestors, regardless of who you think they were, ate mostly meat, bone, all the parts of the animal, and a little bit of plant matter. So I'm not against plant matter at all. It's part of the ancestral diet, which is totally cool with me, but it should not be the predominant feature of a dog's diet. This kibble very well could have more plant matter in it than meat. Now, we don't know, okay? So because it says meat and meat meals as the number 1 ingredient, if it is meat, that means it's not a meal, and once it's been cooked and the moisture has been removed, it's going to go all the way down the ingredient list. It's definitely probably not going to be number 1. I shouldn't say definitely probably not going to be number 1. It's definitely not going to be number 1. So we need to look to the second ingredient as the predominant ingredient in this kibble, which is vegetable and vegetable meals. Okay, so I think the first 2 ingredients are really unclear. It doesn't actually tell you exactly what is in this kibble. It doesn't tell you if it's meat or if it's a meal. It could be either or a combination of both. So if I was a consumer who wanted an affordable grain-free, would I be choosing this? Probably not. It doesn't really bode well with me when I'm looking for quality nutrition. There are other more affordable options. And the other thing to really keep in mind is that these supermarket bags tend to come in these really small bags, and the price associated with small bags is actually pretty affordable. But when you times that by whatever it takes to create a 15 kilo batch, you may actually find that it's way over the price of what you would pay for something else. Like if you are on a budget and grain-free is incredibly important to you, then I would suggest that you become a member at Costco's and you look at their Kirkland's and Nature's Domain. So around about 60 bucks for a bag, big bag. And it's pretty good quality given the price. So it's definitely one that I would recommend if someone really wants to feed a grain-free and they don't have a massive budget. Okay, cool. If you have any questions about this product, go ahead and post them below. I just think that there are better grain-free kibbles out there if this is something that you really need to feed your dog. If you don't have an exact reason for needing to feed your dog a grain-free kibble, I would suggest a limited grain kibble. And so what I mean by that is a kibble that doesn't have corn and wheat and those really low quality, cheap ingredients. So there are plenty of kibbles out there that have quality grains in them that are quite beneficial to your dog's health as well. Okay, now as usual, I always recommend to add up to around about 20% fresh food to your dog's diet, because any kind of fresh food is beneficial to your dog's health. Most kibbles will allow you to add up to around about 20%. If you're not sure, please go ahead and speak to your vet or call the kibble company and ask them. Some of them will actually tell you that they don't want you to add any fresh food at all to their kibble, and I think that's quite unacceptable actually, that they don't want you to add real food to a processed diet. So how do you work out 20%? You're going to weigh what you're going to be feeding your dog, calculate 20% of that, remove that, and then replace that 20% with real fresh food. Meats, fruits, vegetables, bone broth, kefir, anything, right? Now, a lot of kibbles and even fresh food diets can be deficient in omega-3s, so I would highly suggest that you look at an omega-3 supplement for your dog as well. You can get them via capsules or in bottles, but the most ideal way is to get them from real food. So an oily fish twice a week, sardines, salmon, these are all good things that you can add to your dog's diet. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon reviewing another kibble for you. If you have any questions, pop them below.